I've got a data center worth of equipment as my home lab, and I'm not really using it all. Yeah, it's great to have, and it's great for bragging rights for sure. I mean, what, you don't have an $80,000 storage array sitting in your basement? Pfft. I love that I was able to repurpose some of this decommissioned enterprise gear in a way that I could learn, that other people could learn, and I could get some use out of it. But I'm really not getting the use that I thought I would out of this equipment. So I've started spinning up a new Proxmox host, which is really just a beefed up desktop. Like, it would be an amazing gaming machine if that's what you were using it for, but that's not what I'm using it for. I need to start migrating VMs off of my old Proxmox host onto my new one. There's a handful of different ways you can do this, one of which is creating a cluster where you add your existing host to your new host as a cluster, move the VMs over, add the necessary storage, move the VMs over, and then remove the old host from the cluster. That can get kind of clunky. There's a lot to it, especially when it comes to dedicated storage on the two devices that isn't shared from the start and isn't gonna be shared after you decommed the old host. Anyway, I have a video on that already on the channel if you want to check that out. Link will be in the pinned comment down below. So I've already got this set up, and I've moved a VM already, actually, and then had to blow it away, and then because a specific partition on one of the SSDs was set up as an LVM. Anyway, so we're going to be going through this. So here we are in the Synology. So first thing we're going to want to do is create a shared folder for your VM backups to live on. Come over here to Control Panel, File Sharing, Shared Folder. You can see I've got one already created, but we would do this from scratch by going to Create Shared Folder, name it whatever you want. So for example, I named this, we'll name it Proxmox 2. We'll give it a description of VM backups. So you can pick whichever volume you want. If you don't have a volume, you need to make one. Go through and hit Next. Enable additional security measures. If you really want to do this with encryption, you can. For this purpose, we don't really need it. Go through and do Next. Enable checksum. If you want to do this, you can. Again, moving on, hit Next, and go through and confirm all the things that you want. That's how you get your shared folder. After you've got your folder created, you'll want to edit the folder. Come here to NFS Permissions, and this is essentially where we're going to link our folder as a storage repository to each of our servers, so they can link and move data in between them. Go to Create, put the IP address of your source server in here, privilege of read-write. You can leave all the rest of this alone. I actually clicked Allow Connections from Non-Privileged Ports because the port for the server, to access the server, is 8006, I think. For the web GUI, I don't think that's the same port for data transfer, but either way, I just clicked it just because it can't hurt. And you'll do that for your destination server as well. Now you can see the mount path here. Keep that in mind, or keep the screen open, because you're going to need that here in a minute. Now that we've got that created, we're going to come over to our source server, the main one you have set up now, and we're going to add the NAS, the Synology, as storage pool, basically. So we'll click on Data Center, not the host, but Data Center itself. Click on Storage and Add Storage. We'll go to Add NFS, Synology, the, let's see, 192.168.0.139 is it? What is the IP there? 139. Under Export is where you're going to put this mount path. Content, however you want to use it. So for this example, we're just going to use this for VM backups. So we're going to click VM backups, unclick disk image, see what's under advanced. We'll leave advanced alone, and we'll hit add. And now it's in there twice. It doesn't need to be, so I'm going to actually remove it. Now you can verify that this was added by coming back over to your Synology. Go to File Station. Under the Proxmox volume, you can see that it created a couple of folders here for you for dumps and images, which I had this set up for images at first. Anyway, so it's got the folder structure in here. And you can see that I've already done this at least once before. We're going to delete these so we can do it again. Over on our destination server, our new host, we do the same thing. We come up to Data Center, we go to storage, and again, you can see that I've already done this, but we do the exact same process, exactly the same on both physical hosts. So now at this point, we've got our 2 servers linked to our shared storage. Now it's time to start backing up VMs so that we can restore them on the new server. So now we'll find a VM that we want to back up. All right, so we picked our VM. We're going to come over here to backup and do backup now. Before we do this, we'll come over to hardware, click our drives and hit edit and make sure that backup is checked. Make sure this is done, because if not, it's not going to move the storage, it's just going to move the compute, and the OS lives on the storage. Kind of defeats the purpose, but so we'll hit OK. Now we can come down to backup. Backup now. Change your target. Snapshot, we'll leave it as ZSTD for fast and good. Protected, no. If you want to put any notes in here, you can, and we just hit backup. Now, depending on the size of your VM and depending on the type of network that you have, this can take a while. We'll let this do its thing and we'll come back.
Later.
We can see that the VM finished backing up. It took a couple of minutes, 3.5 minutes for a 32 gig drive on a 1 gig network. That works. So now we come back to our destination host or our new server. We'll click on the Synology directory here, the NFS directory. Under backups, we can see we've got our backup here. We're gonna hit restore. So we figure out our storage, we figure out our VM number, make sure all of this stays the same. If we want to override any settings, if we want to rename the VM or change the compute resources and stuff in here, we can do that right now before we actually start moving stuff over. So I'm just going to hit restore. Really, this should take about the same amount of time as it did to back up. So we'll let this do its thing and we'll come back.
Eventually.
Well, I probably could have just talked through that. It took 120 seconds to spin up the VM. Anyway, here we are. VM was restored. Now, before you start your VM, there's a couple things you're going to want to change here because it still has all the settings. So if you didn't essentially clone your old server settings to your new server host, Proxmox host, not the VM, you're going to want to come down to change a couple things. Like we'll look at hardware, and it's going off VMBR1, which is the name of the NIC it was utilizing in the other server. We're going to change that in the drop down and just hit OK. Let's see, all the rest of this should all still be the same. Is that the same? Now let's go to console and see if it starts up. Hey, look at that. And there we are. We've got everything the way it was originally. You know, I've got my, in this example, a crypto wallet, AIPG, and it's able to start right up. Let's see if I can sign into it, just like I would on the other server. Starts right up. Everything's all gravy. That was easy. Now, depending on how many VMs you have or that you want to keep and retain moving from one host to another, this can get time consuming, but it is another option for you to migrate VMs from one Proxmox host to another based on your specific scenario or whatever you're trying to accomplish here. Again, for me, I've got 13 VMs I want to move. I can have that done in, an hour or so. Just sit here and bang them out. On top of that, the VMs are now backed up on the Synology. So I have a restore point I can go back to as well if something happens. This also brings up the importance of having a good backup target. What do you use for backups? Leave a comment down below. If you made it this far in the video and you learned something today, hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel get recommended to others. And if this is the kind of video that you enjoy watching, consider subscribing for more like it. And of course, thanks for watching.